that moment, a baby slipped, and I literally mean slid and slipped and slithered out of my vagina. And then when I looked at it immediately, this little baby with dark hair, and it was smiling at me. And it was the cutest little thing. Welcome to Love What Luck. I got really frightened just now because I thought somebody was trying to come in my flat. But I think we're safe. I literally pressed record and was silent, like waiting to see if somebody was going to come and rob me. But thankfully, no. I'm here, and yeah, let's just go straight into it this week. Because this is a pretty big story. She literally sent it to me and was like, it's long, but it's got a happy ending. So I haven't actually read through it properly because I thought I would do it live with you guys on the episode. So here we go. Hi, Serdi. I absolutely love your podcast. Thank you. And I wanted to share my story with you. When I was 20, I found out my long-distance boyfriend had been cheating. On a rebound, I ended up going home with my boss's business partner, who was also her ex. Hang on, just so her boss was a woman who used to also go out with her business partner. So even though they're single, this girl has gone on a rebound with the same guy. Guys playing with fire, by the way. 2 work relationships in close encounters like that. That's a red flag. I didn't intend for it to go anyway, as there was a 19-year age gap. And the sex was mediocre at best. He left his socks on during. Huge red flag. I don't know if I've ever slept with someone with their socks on, but depending on what their toes look like, that might be a blessing in disguise. I'm just throwing it out there. I would rather see somebody with their socks on than see an infected toenail, or I don't know, you know how funny I am with feet. I don't even want to go into it, but something unpleasant. At least the sock is safe, that's all I'm saying. It could have been worse if I was hiding underneath it. Anyway, she says, one thing led to another and we started dating. When my boss found out, she hit the roof, sacked me and made it almost impossible for me and the guy to see each other. One night I was at his place and she nipped in to use the toilet. Okay, love. My ex made me hide. I'm sorry, that's a red flag. And when she found me, she gave me a good hiding just for being there. Okay, I've got to recap on this because I feel like there's a lot happening. We've gone thrown in right at the deep end here, and this is just the start. And also, I did a poll, and at the time of recording, more votes were for the comments during or after. So I'm going to do them during, I'll do recaps. Anyway, she's had a rebound. Like, the fact her long-distance boyfriend had cheated, we don't even care about that. That's old news at this point. All we care about is that on a rebound, she's gone out with her boss's ex, basically, with a 19-year age gap and basic sex. She's at his place and the ex nipped in to use the toilet. I'm sorry, what? She got a key. I don't agree with that, unless they've got kids. And to be honest, even then, like, my friends have got kids with guys, obviously. Well, not obviously, but birth kids with guys. And there's no way that their baby daddy would just have a key to the house. In what world do you still need to go to your ex's house and have a key? That doesn't make sense to me. She obviously also must have known that somebody was there, and that's why she nipped in, and she was trying to look for. Also, who nips in? I don't know where you guys live, but on what planet is it easier to pop in somebody's house to use the bathroom? Not in London. Can't see me like going past, I don't know, Clapham and popping in to use my friend's toilet. That doesn't even make sense to me. Anyways, so she goes in and beats her up, which is just, I can't even deal with that. I'm going to move swiftly past her. Things didn't improve, so he basically hid me in Egypt for a year, where they had another business together. It's given money laundering. That's all I'm saying. It's given top boy. Other than his crazy ex, the first few years were fun. We got along great and he really spoilt me. Eventually, around 2 years later, I needed to move out of my parents' home. My ex bought a rundown bar and insisted I managed it while he was on the road for his entertainment business. Okay, I see. It all gets weird from here. From here, love, I think it got weird from the very first thing. I'm not being funny. From the first sentence with a 19-year age gap, I think it got weird. But okay, we're 2 years in and it's getting weird. I moved in with him. Oh, no. But not before I took out a 15k loan to give to his ex for her equity in the house. I'm going to throw out there's a lot of things I don't understand about this story. Like the equity in the house. I can't go into all the details of it, so don't come at me. But what I will say is taking out a 15 grand loan for somebody, that is a lot. That's going into Tinder swindler, Anna Delvey vibes, and I just don't know if I could do it. Although I have lent my boyfriend a sum of money before and he has paid me back. And actually, even though it's a bit scary, if you're with somebody... Why do I keep talking like I've got a lisp? If you're with somebody and you love them and you trust them, then you would do it, wouldn't you? You do it for your friend, you do it for a family member. So it's easy to look at this and be like, oh my God, you took out a 15k loan for somebody. But you've been with him 2 years, so I guess you kind of would. But yeah, if that's in the story, then we know it's not a good sign. The bar was doing well and I spent my weekends working, drinking and spending too much money. My ex didn't believe in paying bills or taxes. I'm sorry, does anyone? Does that give you a green card out? Imagine my water people chasing me for a bill and me being like, do you know what? I just don't believe in it. I just don't fancy it this month. How can you live your life like that? We're a joke. She says, and I was young and naive. The business started going downhill after a couple of years, and to keep us on track, I took out some credit cards, payday loans and finance. By 2017, I was 30 grand in debt and had no choice but to apply for an IVA. I don't know what an IVA is. I'm going to Google that now. I think it's a quick loan. If you're over 5 grand in debt, you could write it off. Individual voluntary agreement between you and your creditors to pay back your debts over a period of time. Okay, that's probably sensible then. I don't think it's like a loan or anything with those crazy interest rates. Okay, do we need a recap yet? I don't know. Basically, she's running this business for him. It's not going well. And she's had to take out some money. And her ex doesn't believe in paying taxes. I was 27, still couldn't drive, and was in a pile of debt. Around the same time, I had a feeling he was cheating. When it rains, it pours, hun. He turned all my friends against me, telling them I was crazy, and I survived on a cocktail of wine and prescription drugs. Okay, this guy is clearly abusive. He is clocked on to somebody younger, because that's what these types of people do. He's obviously not running a business. He probably hasn't split up with his business partner / ex, and he's found a young and vulnerable girl to pounce on, basically. Eventually, I found the evidence that he had been cheating on me for months with his best friend's ex. Okay, no, the boss. With his best friend's ex, who was living in Australia with her husband and 5 children. Sorry? She had been sleeping with him in my house while I was out and she was home visiting family. That's the ultimate no-go for me. Like, cheat, but do not do it in my bedroom and in my bed sheets, because that just would turn me absolutely sick. I actually think I would vomit at the thought of that. And also, I would never do that to somebody else. I would never cheat and bring them to the home in the same bed. No thanks. Do it on the kitchen worktops, if anyway, or the bathroom, somewhere that gets regularly bleached, because I can't deal with that. I moved out, but after 3 weeks of him begging and me not sleeping, I went back. Her husband kicked her out and she moved back to the UK without her 5 children. Don't want to judge there, but wow. Imagine being away from your 5 kids halfway across the world. That's mental. Oh my God. After that, we never had sex again. For 6 years. What? That's the most shocking part of this whole story. And there's already been a lot, guys. Are you keeping up with this? I need somebody here in lifetime to tell me, because this is a lot. So as soon as she got thrown out, the affair woman, and moved back to the UK, they never had sex again for 6 years. 6 years of no sex. I mean, is that even a relationship? Or are you my brother? Are you my friend? Are you my confidant? I mean, evidently not if you're rinsing me for money and making me work at your bar. 6 years. No, I could never. I absolutely could never. For me, and I know everyone's different, but a week is my limit, I think. I'm not even going to go into it, but 6 years, I could never. Okay, good news. I see the word thriving in capitals. She said, I started a new job and was thriving. I accepted I had no way of leaving the relationship. Oh, that's sad. This is what people do in abusive relationships. They make you feel like you have no way out. And they, like she said, you turned your friends against her. That's what always happens. They cut you off from people. They put you in a financial dependent situation. She's in debt and stuff. And then they make you feel like they can't leave because they know they're not good enough to keep you there by themselves. Anyway, I accepted I had no way of leaving the relationship, so I made the best of it and had a mini affair with a gorgeous lifeguard as revenge. I mean, you go, girl. And what classes is a mini affair? Is that just a couple of times with no emotional attachment? That's what I'm taking that as. A mini affair with a gorgeous lifeguard. I mean, we can't go wrong with a lifeguard. 2 years later, he was regularly coming home late, 10 a.m. That's not late, that's missing persons warrant late. That's not late, that's a deep cause for concern. 10 a.m. And told me it was because he had lost his driving licence, so had been sleeping at the nightclub and driving home in the morning when there were less police around. Oh, good God. Honestly, I can imagine you're older now, whoever wrote this story. She would have been older now looking back at this and being like, how did I ever believe that? But when you're young and people tell you things, I think you just believe it. Honestly, I could probably do an episode on that. Maybe I can ask you guys. I don't know if I get enough reaction of it from a poll, but basically something that you were told when you were younger and you just believed just because you were young and somebody you loved and respected told you it. Oh, do you know what? I've got an example actually. Maybe if I do it so it doesn't have to just be a partner, then people will get more involved. But, right, my mother always told me that beans, tomato ketchup, any type of condiment would stain my clothes. I don't know if I've said this story before. And if you know me, I love a condiment. It's actually wild. So anytime I used to eat anything with a condiment or baked beans, which was all the time, because I also love baked beans, my mother used to tell me, don't get that over you now, it'll stain. And I lived by this rule my whole life until I was 26 years old, in my flat, making food with beans, obviously. Tipped some bean juice on me and was really annoyed and was like, oh my God, I'm fuming, this is going to stain now, this isn't going to come out. And my boyfriend at the time was like, what do you mean? Of course it'll come out, just put it in the wash. I was like, no, beans stain. And he was like, no, they don't. I've never had beans over you before. And I hadn't moved out until I was that age and done my own washing. So all the time my mother was telling me that beans would stain my clothes, I probably just forgot about it and then they just used to come back to me clean. I don't know, it's actually so messed up. But obviously now I realise I could get beans on my clothes and wash them. I still put a bit of varnish on them and it would come out clean. And in fact, it was all a lie. So there are things that you just believe when you're younger. Another one is, and actually I know people still believe this, I know they do, you'll get a cold when you go from hot to cold weather. I think it's a myth, guys, because a cold is from bacteria and stuff. It's a myth, but we all live our lives by it. As a girl, if you go out with your midriff showing, you'll get a cold. You won. If you go out with wet hair, you'll get a cold. I just don't think it's true. But part of me and my soul has got my nan telling me that since I was 5 years old, and I low-key do believe it still. So actually there's loads of things, gone way off track, but there's loads of things that you do believe when somebody tells you. I don't actually think I've got an example of anything from a boyfriend that I can think of. I've probably just forgotten them because my first couple of boyfriends were quite toxic towards me. So, yeah, God knows what they used to tell me. Oh, actually, yeah. The one time that my ex always used to tell me, well, it wasn't one time, it was always, but one ex always used to tell me when I went out that his friends were out and they would be watching me. And now as I've got older, I've realised that's not the case. He's just saying that to me for me to quote unquote behave because he was always paranoid I was going to cheat on him. So yeah, that was a thing. And I did actually used to believe it. I used to think, oh my God, his friends are watching me. Like, whoa, well, wherever I go, they're just going to know and I'm going to have some security team following me. Such bullshit. Okay, anyway, they haven't had sex for 6 years. She's had a mini affair with a lifeguard. And the boyfriend is coming home the next day telling her he's sleeping in a nightclub because he's lost his driver's license and he wants to drive home when there's less police around. Surely there's less police around in the middle of the night, but whatever. Anyway, during this time, I had bailiffs turning up at the house almost daily. All the cars were in my name, so they couldn't remove them. My friend had given me 22 grand to avoid us losing our home. Oh my God, what an angel of a friend. And my life felt like a constant nightmare. 6 months after the self-imposed driving ban, on Christmas Day, his girlfriend messaged me. I mean, I'm acting shocked, but am I really? No sex for 6 years. There's no way. You were already having a mini affair. So I'm acting like I'm shocked he's got a girlfriend, but actually I'm not really. His girlfriend messaged me to tell me they had been together for 6 months. Okay, I'm shocked at that. And he'd been taking her and her kids, even though he always told me he never wanted kids, on family days out. Guys, this is a new girl. This guy is an absolute arsehole. I just can't even believe this stuff is real. We spent the entire night screaming at each other, smashing the house to pieces. I moved out the next day and lasted 2 months this time before he eventually got me to move back and start paying his mortgage again. Oh, gal. This just makes me sad and frustrated because I'm like, if I was in your life at this time, I'd be shaking you. Like, you want to go back, fair enough, but pay his mortgage? What? Who does this guy think he is? There are unbelievable things, like people like the Tinder swindler and stuff, that somehow just get people to do what they want, and it's so manipulative. And I'm just sad that somebody had to go through this. Fast forward to 2020. I'm now 32 and I've been in this shit show of a relationship for 12 years. And please tell me you're not still with him. Please tell me this isn't the present tense and you haven't left him yet. Because if you have, I'm here to tell you to get out now. My God, please no. Constantly being cheated on, spending all my money on his debts and his mortgage. When the world reopened after COVID, I was hiring some new staff to cope with demand. I'm a food and beverage manager. And a CV popped up from a guy that worked on cruise ships. We became best friends, messaging every day. He was my biggest fan, always telling me how wonderful, pretty and amazing I am. When I left that job, we started hanging out more, and despite me saying I'd never leave my ex, I started a new relationship with this man. Yay! Cruise ships for the win. You know I love a cruise. Oh. Kicked my microphone. I told my ex who wasn't happy, I'm sorry, you're not in a relationship with this guy. This is just some man at the minute that you've got some sort of connection to. It's like Stockholm syndrome or something at this point. It's not a normal partner. I told my ex who wasn't happy, obviously, but asked I don't move out for 6 months. Well, so you can pay his way. That seemed reasonable, she says. Don't think so, hun. And my new boyfriend went back to work on ships during this period. I mean, did your new boyfriend know? If so, keep this episode quiet. No, if not, keep this episode quiet. My ex guilted me into quitting my job to help him with another bar he has bought. Threatened to kill my boyfriend, took money off me to buy a puppy to tempt me into staying, and physically blocked my car in so I couldn't leave. I'm not even going to say anything. The day I moved out of our house, woo! My ex put his fist through a wall next to my head, and I left the house with nothing but the clothes on my back, and it was the best thing I ever did. Well, I don't think we're shocked at that, hun. My God, it's not normal what you just went through for 12 years. It's not normal for us to even be reading and listening to this. The next year, he continued to make my life hell. When our dog died, he screamed at me, told me it was my fault she had got cancer, because if I'd been there, I would have noticed and taken her to the vets. Is he being serious? Well, I'm gobsmacked at that and actually speechless, and I will not be commenting. That was the last straw for me. I booked myself in to see a therapist, thank God, and week by week I started getting emotionally stronger. All this turmoil had ruined my relationship with a new man, but we kept in touch. I think he worried about me. He always supported me and told me none of this was my fault. Of course it's not. This is what happens because he just got you young and just gaslit you and manipulated you. It's been a really long, hard road, but this summer we got back together. It's been the most incredible year of my life. I live on my own with my little dog, but we're making plans to buy a home together. We both want kids and I have a wonderful job with lots of free time. I wish I had been strong enough to leave sooner, but it took a global pandemic for me to meet my soulmate and learn how to be loved. To this day, my ex is still in debt, not surprising. I've heard he's seeing another one of his friend's exes, not that he has any genuine ones. It's taken a long time, but I've learned there's no room in my heart for hate and put the entire 12-year ordeal, that's definitely the right word, down as experience. Happiness is out there, but you have to work for it and believe you deserve it. Honestly, guys, I'm exhausted by that. That exhausted me just by reading it. I can't imagine living it for 12 years. Like, the fact that somebody out there can do that to another person and behave that way and take everything from them is so upsetting, I think, and sad. And it's so sad that people go through this all the time. And some people for longer, some people their whole lives, some people are in abusive relationships, and it is honestly just really sad. And I think the main thing you can take from it is, as she said, you've got to believe you deserve happiness, and you've got to do the work on yourself to build up your self-confidence, your self-worth, and just work on yourself to feel strong enough to leave. Because I think when you're in those situations, it's so easy to feel so isolated by somebody. To be honest, even in normal relationships, it's funny, it's not funny, but it's crazy how when you're with somebody so easily, you can be with them for a year, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, wherever. You kind of forget that you had a life before, and that's why it is so hard to break up with somebody unless you're absolutely sure, because they are your life now. Like, my life now compared to 2 years ago, before I met my boyfriend, is completely different. He wasn't in it, and I was living my life. I had a different routine, living by myself, living with a friend, but obviously we're not a partner, and I was really happy. But now the thought of doing that is still a little bit, not scary, but it's still like, wow, my life will be completely different, even though really your life's going back to what it's always like. But when you're in a relationship, your life just becomes different. You meet new friends, you meet their family, you have different routines, you live with them, you get used to sleeping with somebody, waking up with somebody. And, I've broken up with partners because I know when things are not right and I've been able to leave. And that is because I felt certain in my decision and I felt positive, and I've had people around me that I know will support me, and I always kind of know it's going to be alright and I can be by myself. But for some people that are in bad situations and I haven't got that, or just in normal situations, but they feel like they don't see their friends that much, or they haven't got any friends, and if I leave this person, am I going to be by myself, and all these things, it's really hard to break up with somebody. Do you know what though? I've been reading for the second time, just a few pages before bed, just to calm me down. Do you know what? This is too much information, and again, sorry ma'am, but I am 32. But do you know what I find is if I have sex before bed, it wakes me up. And I know most people, it's the opposite, especially guys. They always say, after they orgasm, they can go to sleep straight away. It wakes me right up. My mind is alert. I don't know. It's as if it gives me a surge of energy, which is super annoying. So yeah, anyway, not that I have sex every night, but I wish. I read a couple of pages. This is way too much information. I don't know why I'm sharing this with you. But yeah, I read basically I read a few pages of that book every night, right? Because I just wake up when I go to bed. Sex or no sex. Anyway, God, I'm going off track. I've been reading this book, so it's for the second time, just a few pages before bed, and I can't recommend it enough. One of you emailed me the other week, actually, asking for recommendations to get over a breakup. And this isn't really about relationships, but it is, I feel like, about your self-worth, how you think about yourself, and how your brain works and stuff. And it's called The Mountain Is You. I will link it below on Amazon, and it's one of my favourite books. You know, I love a self-help book, and I just absolutely love it, and I really recommend it, and I've been enjoying it. So yeah, if anybody is listening going through a bit of a hard time at the minute, I mean, I'm not going through a hard time, and I'm still reading it, like, it's very good. But especially if you're going through a hard time, because that is when I bought it, I found it really, really good and really positive. Anyway, do you know what? I'm actually not going to do another relationship story today because I just want to keep it positive for the rest of the episode. We're going to focus on the fact that she had a happy ending. She's doing good in herself. She says she's had the best year of her life and she's with a loving man who waited for that whole time, which I love. And hopefully you'll get to go on some cruise ships with him because I went on my first cruise a couple of years back. The vlog is on my YouTube if you want to watch it. Best week ever. Me and Matt, my boyfriend, still talk about it loads as the best holiday. Absolutely loved it. Anyway, let me catch you up on my week. I'm going to an event today, which I'm excited about. It's a makeup event. It's called, the makeup brand is Rebound. It's a new makeup brand, I believe. I've seen it on my Instagram and I want to check it out. Anyway, I've been invited to an event, but it's my first drop-in event. So usually when I've gone to events, not that I've gone to a lot, but when I've gone to events through Instagram or whatever, I go alone, but they are sit-down events. So you go, I've had lunch, or you just turn up and I know what to expect. And even though you're by yourself, everyone else is by yourself, but you kind of have a place and stuff to talk about, to talk. Whereas this is going to be like a drop-in, so I can go in anytime. I might go in, there might be nobody there. I might go in, there might be one person there. And I don't know, it's a bit daunting because it's an event, but I'm also kind of just like shopping. So I don't know, that's what I'm going to today. I'm excited because I love going to stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a little bit scared. I think I'm going to vlog. And yeah, I feel like then if I've got my camera and stuff, then it's kind of like I'm not by myself. Honestly, that's why I feel like I have a chat to you guys every week, but it's actually just me with my camera. I started on TikTok, if you follow me, right, on there. I'm at Sadie Maltby on my personal and then at Love What Luck. I mean, I'm the same across all socials. But I basically started to say, you guys send me your stories. I started to say, as I'm doing makeup stories on TikTok, I mean, I did a couple. And to be fair, even then, or when I show clips of these reels, I've said before, people think it's me. Well, I did that story about the girl being the other woman in a married man's relationship. Oh my God, the stuff I've been called. A girl messaged me the other day, "You are a whore." I'm like, firstly, maybe so, but it's not me in the story, hun. The abuse, my friend messaged me like, "Oh, your TikToks are doing well, but God, some of the comments you get are harsh, aren't they?" I was like, yeah, I'm really opening myself up to some hate here. So I think I'm going to stop doing those and just start doing them as if I'm telling stories and not pretending to be the person again. And some people, bless them, are like, if I say, I was cheated on and blah, 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 they're like, "I'm so sorry you've gone through this." And then I feel bad. I'm like, thank you, but it's not me in the story. I mean, I say it in the comments, but people don't read comments, do they? Anyway, I think, well, it's probably not all I've done. Oh, I did go and see Fred again. Do you even care about this? I don't know. But I just have to say that I went to see Fred again last weekend. And I love him, obviously. I listened to his music. I was really excited to see his concert. It was in Alexandra Palace, which I'd never been before, actually. It was nice there. Anyway, I loved him. I never knew he did his own singing. So I know, like, that really lovely singing voice. It's him. I couldn't believe it. And he was playing the piano and he was showing all the video clips. So if you know his music, he puts clips in of people talking. So, and then he remixes them into a dance song. But he showed the videos of the actual people, and they were just like random people that he'd seen online or in the street, or just he said that he was just filming through, I think it was through the pandemic. And I found it really good. I think it's really nice when you see something that inspires you, or you hear something. For me, I think you can believe something, but if you hear it from somebody else, it sticks straight away. You know, if your friend tells you something, or if you just read something, or if you hear something, even if it's what you believe, I just think it sticks with you more. I think that's what's so good about therapy. Have I ever told you the story about my therapist when I said that sometimes I hate talking to people in my accent, and it makes me feel sometimes a bit inferior, which I hate saying because I love Wales. I love where I come from, and I do love my accent. And, you know, I mean, since I've started this podcast, I probably get a bit of hate on it, but it really doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all. People say you've got a shit accent or whatever. Like, I don't care about it because I love it. And so many people say they love it. But what I hate is if I speak to somebody, and this is going to be hate to some people, but usually what I class as posh English people, sometimes as if they can't understand me, and they kind of make faces and they can't understand me. And I was saying to my therapist that I hate it, and I feel like they're judging me, and they kind of think that, you know, they are up here. I don't know, I guess like the easy word is stuck up, but what's the actual meaning of that? That they are higher up than me, and they kind of look down on me because of my accent. And it genuinely really used to bother me. And my friend does the same thing as well. We've spoken about it a few times. She lives in London, and like if she goes to an event or something, sometimes she said you kind of feel, I don't know if it's a bit out of place, or you feel, this is going to sound really bad, and I can't believe I'm saying it out loud, but sometimes I feel like they think I'm poor, or I don't deserve to be there, or they don't respect me as much, I think is what I'm getting at. They don't respect me as much because of my accent, which, I'm sorry, is a real thing. It is a real thing. People do judge people because of their accents, and they don't, you know, I think people's idea of a successful person is usually somebody English with that sort of well-spoken Queen's English accent, yeah? And I was saying this to my therapist one time. Something must have happened. I must have gone into it and gone on a rant. And she was like, you say that people can't understand you, but I can understand you fine. And are you sure that people can't actually understand you, or what's in your head? And I was like, well, some people genuinely say they can't. They'll actually say it to me, I can't understand you. But I said, maybe it is in my head. And she said, I think it probably is. I think that's your insecurity, and not everyone is going to think that of you. She said, why didn't you just not talk slower? Because I said I used to get annoyed. I used to talk slower, pronounce words differently. I mean, I could try and do the accent on you a bit, but especially when I used to be a hostess in Chiltern Firehouse, Casa Cruz and Isabel, which are really high-end places. So people used to come in. I never ever would feel comfortable talking with this accent. Anyway, basically my therapist said that. She said that one thing to me, and she said, just don't change the way you talk. And I said, okay. And since then, I never did it again. Just since my one therapist saying one thing to me. So I think it's really good and interesting, yeah, when you see things that inspire you. That was just a random thought that I had of the day. Another one, my God, guys, right? It's practically still summertime. I mean, the nights are getting darker earlier for sure. The temperature's dropped 10 or so degrees. However, the sun is shining today and there's blue skies. I'm going out later. I'm not going to wear a coat. But you guys seem to be in cuffing season already. All of my friends back home have been wifed up. Hot girl summer is over. Hell is frozen over. They have all got guys, and I cannot believe it. Whilst I'm happy for them, It's all happened at the same time. I turned my back for a second and they've all been wifed up. So then I was thinking about getting wifed up, and I thought, you know what? No, last week I said that episode, I said in the episode about me not wanting to be ready to go with my ex until I went to Bali and stuff and found myself. When we got together, it was in October. So I do think, guys, I'm just throwing it out there, if you're single and you want to go with somebody, now is looking to be the time. I guess it kind of makes sense because obviously you're going into winter. But if you want to stay single, beware. Because I think this is the time that you're going to get people sliding in the DMs. Those people you haven't heard from for a while. They've had their summer holidays. They've had their mad lads time in Ibiza. They've been to Vegas. They've had the party cruises and the crazy nights. And they're ready to cuff now. They want to lure you in for those cold winter months. So I'm just telling you to beware. You know, I did an episode on this last year. The warning is still strong, so take this warning as you wish. Either be afraid or use it to your advantage, because if you want to get with somebody now, I would say come in October, it's going to be a vulnerable time for them, so it's the time to loop them in to see you. Okay, something light-hearted to finish, because we've had a very strong episode this week emotion-wise. I just saw this thread on Reddit and I thought it was really funny. It just made me laugh, so that's what I'm going to end the episode on. So they asked, what is something you've been addicted to? And here's some of the answers. Nutella. I've said it before, 100 calories a tablespoon, and I'll go through that jar in 2 to 3 days. And somebody said, 2 to 3 days? Your restraint is admirable. I fucking love Nutella, and I also will have spoonfuls of that, and I will also have a spoonful, this is a bit weird, of peanut butter and dip the spoon in jam, and have peanut butter and jam in the same mouthful. Okay, second one. There's a chocolate bar in the UK called a Breakaway. They really aren't anything special, just a chocolate coated biscuit bar. I cannot be allowed to have them in the house. And you know what? There is nothing special about a Breakaway, but they are the perfect plain biscuit size to suck tea through. So I don't know if you guys do this, but whenever I have a cup of tea and a really nice chocolate bar, Twix is obviously the elite bar to do it with, but Breakaways work really well too. Dip the bottom in, bite, dip the top in, bite, and then you create a biscuit straw. You put it in and you suck the tea through the biscuit. There is nothing more divine that happens. The chocolate melts. It's all over your hands. It's all over your mouth, but it feels so good. The shame doesn't kick in till later when you look and you're filthy. But in that moment, it's so delightful. It goes soft and it all just melts in your mouth. It's one of my most favourite things to do, and I'll do it with any biscuit I can get my hand on. But yeah, a Breakaway is very good for that. Somebody said, my ex, she's evil and addictive and I'm a sucker for her. And that's the risk you take when you go with us, lads. Those peanut butter Girl Scout cookies, I don't need to know where you can buy them from, thank you. Somebody replied straight away, Aldi have them. They taste exactly the same and are £1.29 a bag. Somebody said the food delivery app. Yeah. Do you know the other day Matt ordered on, I don't know what, ice, crisps and something else. You know, like Go Puff and stuff. What an amazing but lethal invention. We don't even live far from a shop. It's actually really bad. And the last one is, I love sleeping. I love the feeling of deep dreaming. I would totally be scared of even trying morphine or heroin. Yeah, I mean, people love sleeping. Oh, interesting, actually. Do you know last week I said that every dream I've had about being pregnant or having a baby has been horrendous? Last night, right, such a strange dream. I can't remember, like, any other part of it. It wasn't part of a big storyline. But I was chatting to somebody and I was saying, no, I know we've tried everything, but the baby just hasn't come. And then in that moment, a baby slipped. And I literally mean slid and slipped and slithered out of my vagina in the most easy way. So maybe that's the universe telling me you don't need to be petrified of childbirth, because it was an absolute breeze. Full baby came out, and then when I looked at it immediately, also fake, it wasn't messy or gunky. It was, like when the newborn baby has had a few days to get his shape back to a normal face and look nice. This little baby with dark hair, and it was smiling at me. And it was the cutest little thing. So I've actually finally had a nice pregnancy dream, guys, which was good. Do you know what? When my nephew was born, my first nephew, this is really bad to say, but I was so excited. I was with my sister in the delivery room and my brother-in-law. Anyway, she ended up having to have C-section. So basically I missed the full birth because obviously my brother-in-law was there. So anyway, the midwife brought him out quickly for me to see, because I'd been there the whole time in labour with her. I was expecting to see a newborn baby like I'd seen pictures of. Guys, have you seen a baby when it first comes out of the womb? It's terrifying. All the face is all like mangled, and it's got all bits over it, and it's a weird colour, and the fact I'm calling it and not a baby, or he or she, says it all. Terrifying. Honestly, people need to warn other people for that, and I'm doing it to you now, because babies, when they first come out, they're not cute. Give them a couple of hours, they're the most adorable things ever. Oh my god, my nephew was the cutest, sweetest little thing, and I couldn't even believe him. But when he first came out, looked like a baby dinosaur. Scary. Oh, I have actually got one more thing that I found. I've just seen it on my screenshots on my photos. This is where I'm going to end on. I saw this on Twitter. Or it's not called Twitter anymore, so it's called X. Saw this on there, and it's a screenshot of a girlfriend. It's a screenshot from a boyfriend of how he texts his girlfriend and her response. So he texts her saying, "I've met someone called Liz Anya in Spain, and I've not been able to get it out of my head since. Nothing really happened, but it probably would have if I'd stuck around for longer." And she responded, "Oh my god, okay, why would you do this to me? Please don't ever speak to me again." And he responded with this picture. A picture of a lasagna. So he spelt it Liz for Liz, and then the surname Anya. So she just saw Liz Anya. Obviously it sounds lasagna, but when she just read it, Liz Anya, she didn't think, went into panic mode. He sent her a picture of lasagna and said she's so hot though. And she said, "Please fuck off, Jamie. I'm actually not amused. I don't think you know how you just made me feel." And he said, "Oh, come on, Liz Anya." And she said, "No, I actually don't want to talk to you." It's like, "Are you joking?" Oh, that cracked me up. That cracked me up when the joke goes wrong. Okay, well, that's what I'm going to end on, guys. We're ending on a positive note. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I will be back here next Tuesday. Oh, also, please remember to like and subscribe, guys. I don't think I've asked the whole episode, which is so unlike me. I've just been chatting away. Please, please, please. My engagement's been so low this week on social media. I feel like everyone goes through it, but my God, it is shocking. So yeah, I need the help. Please share, like, subscribe, comment, follow. Do what you gotta do to help the gal out, please, because as always, we need some more stories, and we just need to keep the podcast growing. So yeah, thank you so much for listening and for your support, and I'll speak to you next Tuesday.